Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
Hey there. Sorry for my tardiness. I got locked out of the account.
Oh,
Tanya got me squared away though, so it's all good. Hey, everybody. Hey, Felicia, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm just gonna hang on about another 2 minutes and continue to let folks in as they come in, and we'll get going. Hi, Serena. How's it going?
hi, Erin. Wonderful. How are you today?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Oh, thanks, Gary.
I'm trying to, oh, there it is, view. Full screen. Now I can see the chat. Okay.
Glasses are foggy.
I have a quick question. Have you guys done breakout rooms before for role play and such, or do you just role play with the instructor?
You can kind of handle it either way. I always struggle with breakout rooms a little bit, but if you feel confident in it, yeah, go for it.
Okay, I haven't done it before. I didn't know if there was a specific pattern for that or not, so.
The only times that we really use the breakout room is when it's like market center specific. But typically, no, we're just all in the same room together. So yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with setting up the breakout rooms myself.
Fair enough.
All right, so it's 1:02. Let's get going. We're going to start out how we always do and just check in with everybody on their accountability, their daily, weekly 10-4s. Oh, here comes Lucy. So let's have Gary start us off. How's everything going with you, Gary?
Oh, things are good, I guess. I have inspection today at 1 for the Junction City listing, so hopefully that goes well. I've been writing handwritten notes. I went to the Eugene Home Show this weekend and spoke with several people, handed out some business cards, and then just talking real estate with people that I could talk real estate with, as well as adding to my database.
Amazing. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
Hey there, Felicia. How are things going with you?
Going pretty well. I did 2 open houses this weekend. Not any great leads from them, but I went to a winery new release on Friday and got a contact there. So that was good. I'm just trying to get, anybody that I meet, I, try to organically tell them that I'm in real estate, so that is working pretty well.
Fantastic. Thanks, Felicia.
Mhm.
Yeah, 2 open houses. That's great. Ashley, how are things going with you out there? If you're able to hop on for a sec. Oh, there you are.
Did I get unmuted?
Yep.
Okay, it wasn't working there for a second. So far, I've just been adding to the contacts. I've been reaching out to everyone I know, letting them know that I'm newly licensed, letting them know that I want to be a resource for them, and if they have any questions. A couple of the people that I've connected with are home inspectors, so not all just like on the side of buying or selling, but just other connections.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And that brings us to Emily. How's it going?
I live in a really small community, so I've made some good personal connections just going out, like going out to dinner at our one restaurant that we have in the county, or going to the market. People are like, hey, I heard
the good news, I'm able to talk to them about the exciting change for me. And so that's been good. And I'm wanting to make some more connections with like lenders and other professionals that can help me along the way. So that's one of my next.
Great, thank you. And Lucy, how's it going? How's your lead gen going so far this week?
It's going good. I met with a couple lenders. Today I had an eye appointment, so I talked to a couple people about real estate. So just meeting with more lenders and seeing option there, and yeah, and just adding to my database.
Great, awesome. Good to see you, Lucy.
Yes.
And Melissa, how are things going with you?
Things are going well. We've been having coffee appointments with some people that I like, some old coworkers in the mortgage world. And so I'm trying to get some leads there. Did have a lead, but that ended up getting postponed until probably a year from now. So I have them to at least start following up on and at least a referral, that I can follow up on. So things are slowly but surely coming along.
Awesome, thank you. Tim, how's it going? Good to see you.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty good. Haven't done any lead gen so far today in class and stuff, but things are going pretty good. I got a couple of buyers on the hook that seem pretty serious. One of them at first was telling me, I just don't do email. And I finally had to tell him, look, you got to create a Gmail account that, we're going to have to communicate that way. You live too far away for me to drive to you every time I need a signature or that sort of thing, or, anything. You got to get yourself. So I'll be talking to him later this afternoon to see if he got that completed. He said he was going to have his daughter help him out with that. And I did a CMA for a close friend of mine. He had no idea what his home was worth. Ends up a couple $100,000 more than what he thought. It's in the upper 700. So that's it's kind of cool. And he says, wow, I'm rich. I said, well, let's sell it. And he, he doesn't want to sell right away, but he's thinking about it. So that's going to be down the line, but still, at least, stand with him. I'll get that at some point. And, but, just hitting my SOI and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Great report. Love it. And last but not least, Amanda, how are things going?
I'm doing good. Been getting a lot of different resources and programs connected in hopes of trying to establish like a blueprint for a plan to help people go from hitting rock bottom and barely surviving to thriving. So I've gotten a bunch of different resources like the Food Share SOS program through St. Vinny's and Goodwill Job Connections all together with the lenders that I work with. And it's kind of like the big thing that I've been working on, a lot more big scale rather than, I know I should probably scale it back to more small lead generating. But what we've been what we've been doing is kind of creating a plan and how we can get people connected to the resources when they do hit rock bottom, and educating them so that instead of being dependent on these resources, now you connect with Amanda and her team of lenders, and then we're going to start working on building your financial well-being and going from, we don't know what we're doing, we need help with rent, we need help with our bills, to, okay, we figured that out, and taking those next steps. So a lot of the programs are revolved around like lower income families and vets and stuff like that. So that's been a lot of what I've been working on.
Yeah, very cool. And as far as our 3 o'clock today, basically when you're done with Ignite here today, just give me a call and I'll be available.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll have to zip off like just a few minutes. If we go all the way to 3, I'll have to zip off early because I have to go pick up my daughter at school at 3.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, and so without further ado, I'm actually really excited to introduce this instructor. This is our amazing team leader out of the Eugene Springfield office, Serena Pell. She actually began her real estate career in 2013 with Keller Williams in Phoenix, Arizona. She, as a graduate of Ignite and Bold, she laid the foundation to successfully grow and lead a team of 10 agents. She has over 30 years of experience in project management, sales training, implementation, and coaching. Serena is driven by personal and professional growth, as well as cultivating strong relationships. Her passion is to teach, coach, and lead others to achieving their goals through clarity, purpose, vision, and execution. And I will hand things over to Serena. Hey, Serena.
Hi, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to lay such a strong foundation for your real estate career. I'm very excited to be here. And it looks like you guys have already been through 1, 2, 3. This is session 4. And today we are going to define the meaning of a value proposition. We're going to be explaining the benefits of creating personalized value proposition. We're also going to learn about the differences between what buyers and sellers want most in their real estate experience and how you can tie those things into your value proposition specifically. So I want you to start thinking about what you're going to learn today and jot down any questions you might have. If you all have the packet there, there's a spot on front of page 1 for you to jot down some questions. We'll have time. Hopefully those questions will be answered as we're continuing through the module, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So we're going to start today's session by learning about what a value proposition is. And bear with me, everybody, because this is my first time teaching Ignite, and I'm on one screen, and so I want to be sure to keep a look on the chat as well. It keeps disappearing on the bottom of my screen, so bear with me. So you've already gone through Spark Your Career, Embrace Your Job, Connect with Your Market, and today we are talking about defining your value. If you refer to your guide there on page 4, actually it's page 3, it defines your value proposition. That's what we're going to talk about today. What matters most to buyers and sellers, defining your value proposition, a recap, and then just the daily success system. Erin, I have a clarification question. Is that daily success system what you just went through with them, or do we actually have time built into the session for them to do some of the activities? Oh, you're muted.
You know, if it ends up going really fast and yeah, you can kind of build that into it, then great. Or if, you know, it's kind of hitting the 2 hours by then, you know, and you kind of have to move past it, we do kind of build that accountability into the beginning. So it would be fine either way.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I think with this subject and just looking over the content, it might be a stretch to hit 2 hours. So I think we're going to have opportunity to have some Q&A or maybe even do some role play if I have a little bit of flexibility to see what would be most beneficial. So if that's fair, we'll kind of go that route with it. So first thing, value proposition. This is on page 3 of your handout. So what is a value proposition? It is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of what it means to be working with you in a real estate transaction. It addresses the specific and special needs of the buyer and seller in your market. And I'm going to say in today's market, right? Because that is different than the market that we have been in. So those specific and special needs of our buyers and sellers change as the market changes. And we're also going to state what you will do for your client to earn your commission. There's a handout too, and it's there's 182 things on the list that you do. Oh, somebody's popping in here. 182 things that real estate agents do for their buyers and sellers. And I'll have that available. I'll post it in the chat later toward the end. So a lot of people are like, you know, what do you do to earn your commission? There's a lot, and we're going to talk about some of those things. And the value proposition also holds you accountable to high standards. What your value proposition, what you put out there is your statement of what you're going to offer for your clients, and that's going to hold you to a high standard. So one of the things, if we remember, one of the beliefs from our Y4C2Ts is commitment in all things. And your value proposition ultimately is a promise to fulfill your client's needs. Okay. What are some other examples of how your value proposition can align with the Y4C2Ts? We're all familiar with the Y4C2Cs? No? I'm only seeing, let's see here. A lot of people are no longer, I can't see your faces, so I can't see nods or whatever. Yeah, if you're here, I don't care if you're eating, if you're multitasking, let's see your faces so I know who I'm interacting with. I would appreciate that. Thanks. There you go. Love it. Thanks, guys. All right. So our Y4C2Ts, can anybody share something that might fall into their value proposition based on the Y4C2Ts?
I would say describing yourself as an agent with high integrity when you're dealing with such a huge milestone in someone's life, like buying a house.
That's fantastic. So integrity, love that. Thank you, Emily. Anyone else? For those who don't know, let me grab. That's one of the foundational items is our Y4C2Ts. And I saw a couple of you nod your head that you weren't quite sure what that is. So our W is for the win-win. Okay. I for integrity, as Emily just stated for us, and that's a perfect item to pull into your value proposition. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication is seeking first to understand. Creativity are ideas before results. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust, so starting with honesty. Equity is opportunity for all. And success is results through people. So that's your Y4C2Ts. So out of those, can somebody else give me an example of one that they might pull into their value proposition?
The equity for all would be a really big one for me, just because that's literally the programs and everything that I'm trying to do. Instead of the rich getting richer and the poor staying poor, you know, the little guy deserves a home too. So the equity would, or the equality would be a really big one for me.
Fantastic. I love that, Amanda. And I listened to what you shared earlier at the beginning, and I could kind of see you have a heart for that. So I'm going to be excited to see how you pull that into your value proposition. All right. So thanks for sharing, you guys. You know, Gary tells us that top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. And why is it important to define your value proposition?
Clients are going to pay you a lot of money.
Yes, they are.
So
You should be doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
And it should be more than just a dollar sign.
Yep. I love that. Anyone else?
Hi, Gary.
hola.
I think also like, oh, sorry. I just, to kind of debunk the thing with, you know, I don't need an aid, I can figure it out on my own, and just be able to share the value that you would bring if you were helping them.
Okay, Emily, thank you. You kind of cut in and out. I don't know if that's just on my side or if everyone else kind of heard that wobbly voice as well. The gist of what you just said is that you're wanting to represent yourself so that others who are going to be working with you know what you stand for. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Sound about right? Okay, fantastic. So yeah, some of the other benefits, of a value proposition, it's going to help your clients understand your value and expertise, which is essentially what Emily just kind of tied up for us. It's also going to protect your commission, and it's going to build strong and trusting relationships. So helping your clients understand your value and expertise, because not everyone knows why they should hire a real estate agent for their real estate needs. A lot of people, we see FSBOs, they think they can take care of it all on their own, and they don't see what the value is, or sometimes they think, real estate agents get paid way too much. They don't realize everything that we do as an agent to be the fiduciary for them, think of their best interest, and monitor all of the legal throughout the transaction to protect their best interest. So sharing your value proposition with your potential client provides an opportunity for them to see how working with you can make their experience better. And in protecting your commission, your value proposition helps you stand out from the competition and helps your clients understand what they're paying for. So we talk about that value and how, a lot of the conception is with some people is that they make so much money, their commission's so high. And we want to protect that commission for you, and by having a strong value proposition so that they know what they're getting when they hire you is really important. Building strong and trusting relationships. Your value proposition, it's essentially your promise to the client, and it allows you an opportunity to keep your word to them when you're working for them, to earn their trust. So clients who trust you, they're more likely to hire you again and also refer you to their family and friends, right? And working by referral is a wonderful thing. I hope you all aspire to do that when you start working with your clients. It's how we treat them through the transaction, how we live up to our value proposition. They're going to be referring clients to us. So when we're learning how to define our value proposition, I want to look at some of the value proposition examples that some of the most well-known and successful companies have. And we're not going to do breakout session for this, but I do want to give you guys a few minutes. Gary, can you read a couple of these off the screen for us?
My pleasure. Which ones? Start with Airbnb?
Yeah.
Airbnb. Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, providing healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. Walmart. Everyday low prices for a broad range of goods that are always in stock in convenient geographic locations. Slack. Slack makes it downright pleasant to work together. Grammarly. Great writing, simplified. Compose bold, clear, mistake-free writing with Grammarly's AI-powered writing assistant. QuickBooks. Send invoices in minutes and get paid 2 days faster. And then State Farm, here to help life go right.
Okay, so some are a little bit longer, like Airbnb, all the way to what, 6 words for State Farm, right? Everybody knows who State Farm's is, and theirs is pretty short and sweet. What makes these value propositions powerful?
It tells people exactly what they're getting. At a face, level, up front, kind of tells them what to expect.
It's their purpose.
Their mission statement.
Their purpose.
Yeah, I love that.
State Farm's purpose is to help life go right. Airbnb's purpose is to provide healthy travel, blah, 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 sustainable.
Yep, blah, blah, blah. I love that. I say that all the time, blah, blah, blah. I speak that language. Yeah, and they're written.
Ayudarles buscar una casa con las características que
Let's see. I'm so sorry, I don't speak Spanish. Is that translated in chat? No.
sorry, I thought my mic was on mute. I didn't realize that actually.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry.
I can understand some Spanish, but I can't speak it. So is there something that you wanted to say, Mercedes?
No, I was just reading something out loud to myself. Sorry.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I want to make sure you didn't get missed there. So yeah, you know, it's written in client-centered language. And I think as we come up with value proposition, being client-focused and putting them at the center of it is a key element. It's also an example of maybe a challenge with a solution, you know, help life go right. It's the positive way of, hey, when things go wrong and you need your insurance agent, right? It's just the opposite of that. It's looking at the positive side. And there are also examples of directly or indirectly through implication of why they're different than some others. Airbnb puts a lot out in theirs, and they're saying that they're diverse, they're local, they're inclusive, they're sustainable. They're hitting a lot of key elements, right? And they added healthy travel in. So as we've come out of COVID, that's a really key element for a lot of travelers. They're concerned about that health aspect of it. And so that's one thing, I think we talk about it, but I'm going to mention it now because that's an example of that may not have previously been a part of their value proposition, right? And your value proposition, what it is today, may likely change as you grow your skill set, as your environment changes, as the market changes. So what you start with and what we're going to build today, know that it is not written in stone. It's what you're starting with, and it's a living thing, right? So it's going to change as time goes on. So we are going to look at page number 4 in your guide. And we're going to look at, so far in Ignite, you've discussed your value and how it's enhanced by being part of Keller Williams, what it means to serve as a fiduciary for your clients, and the importance of becoming a market expert, which is so very important in today's shifting market. Okay, so we're going to connect what we've learned so far and how you can move that into your value proposition. So how does being a part of the Keller Williams family bolster your personal value proposition?
Well, from my experience, it's the biggest company in the country. So you have those resources, you know, everybody's, you know, a million years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everybody's pretty forthcoming with information, and they're pretty helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love that about the Keller Williams family. It was one of the things that attracted me to Keller Williams initially, is how collaborative they are. You know, we're all in the market to help our clients, buyers and sellers. But we're in, you know, how we interact as colleagues and being collaborative and connective with Keller Williams. I personally, with the other brokerages that I've been with, I haven't seen that level. And as Gary said, having, you know, market share nationwide and locally, you know, you're with the largest brokerage in the area. For Eugene Springfield, I'm not sure about, I know for Medford as well, I'm not sure about, you have more competition up in the Portland area for Sunset Corridor. But yes, having that as part of your value proposition is a good thing. How does your value proposition relate to serving as a fiduciary for your clients? Okay, so I'll answer that one. So being a fiduciary for your clients means that you are placing their best interest above anything else, right? While you're serving as a fiduciary, you simultaneously are raising your level of service and the value you provide to your clients, which is going to exemplify your value proposition. Being a fiduciary is one of, as Emily brought up, we're dealing with people the most expensive, one of the biggest. Sometimes it can be one of the most challenging if they're going through, a death or a divorce or one of the 6 Ds. It's a change in their life. We're there to support them. We wear a lot of hats, but being the fiduciary for them is really one of the most important. And being able to tie that into your value proposition in some way that is unique and fits for you is going to be a great tool. How does being a market expert add to your value proposition? And again, in our shifting market right now, we talk about being the local economist of choice and having that information. How is that showing up in your value proposition? What does that translate to for your clients?
Anybody?
Go ahead, Gary.
Oh, I was gonna say, it gives people, or you could, I forgot what I was gonna say. Your market their house the best, or the best price for their house, or knowing the neighborhood. You're the market expert. You're gonna know how to price their house, or know what to offer for that house in whatever neighborhood. So
right. One of the terms that I used to use quite a bit is having your finger on the pulse of the market.
ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, having your finger on the pulse of the market. It's the knowledge that you gain when you share that with your clients. It may not be in your initial statement of your value proposition, but it should be something that comes out of your mouth when you're conversing with them, because that is a key thing of what you're bringing to the table. Again, especially in today's shifting market. So the conversations that you're having at your All Partners meeting, through your Ignite classes, through the additional classes that we have, lenders and different people speaking, being able to know how to translate the data from today's market in a way that you can speak to your buyers and sellers. How does that translate, right? So you don't always have to come up with that information yourself. You do, though, need to be a fiduciary for them, and you need to know where to go out to your allied resources to gather that information. And part of what we do is try to educate you on a weekly and a monthly basis by sending out the reports that we do and having those classes available to you. But yeah, having your finger on the pulse of the market is the key thing. And I'll tell you, the market's changing quickly. So if you take your finger off for a week or two and you're not paying attention to those numbers, they are changing. So when you say keep your finger on the pulse, it means you're into that, daily. You're looking at what the numbers are. You're in the RMLS looking at the stats. It's taking time to understand the market of today. Great. And what other knowledge, attitudes, skills, beliefs do you possess that might help you stand out as an agent?
I know for me that it's more about having a relationship with somebody opposed to just having them as my numbers. Having the personal one-on-one connection is what it's about for me.
Mm-hmm. So is that a knowledge, an attitude, a skill, or a belief?
Skill, belief, knowledge. It comes from the heart. So yeah. I would say that, it really kind of encumbers everything.
Yeah. And for me, it stands out like a belief and an attitude, right? It's a belief that you want to be in relationship with them. They're not just a number. It's not just a commission. Your belief is the relationship, correct? And that translates into your attitude, and you're able then to display your skills and your knowledge once you've built that relationship. I love that. Exactly. That was Melissa, right? I can't see you, but that was Melissa.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So what are some other knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs?
I want to tie in, I am a former teacher and I want to use that as a skill, like helping, still having education as something that I'm passionate about, but helping explain tricky aspects of real estate and being able to break it down for people to understand. So I think that would be a skill of mine.
That's absolutely a skill. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Emily. Educating, being able to actually educate your clients, your buyers and sellers is important. And that was something, I bought a lot of houses and I didn't know what I was doing, right? And my agent didn't really teach me or educate me in any way, shape, or form. And it wasn't until I became an agent myself and I realized how many gaps there were, even though, you know, the sale went fine and everything closed and yada, yada. There was so much that I knew nothing about that just kind of happened, right? And so at the beginning, education was a big part for me, and lining that out for my buyers and sellers so they knew what they were getting when they got me. As soon as we got into relationship, an extension to my value proposition was lining out the transaction for them from day one. So they knew what we were going to go through together and that we were partners, and our lender and our inspector, all the players, everyone on your team, having that education. And that's also going to allow you to get to close, right? When you're educating them along the way and they know what to expect, and you have the right team on your side, you're going to get from that beginning to the closing in a smooth manner. Okay. Anyone else have anything to share about their knowledge, attitude, skill, or belief that they think is going to help them stand out as an agent?
I think communication is one of the good skills that you need with the other agent. If you don't have communication, that plays a big part with your clients and also with the other. That's very important, especially in this market, because if you just leave your client like they don't know what's going on, they'll be like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Yep. Communication is also key. Thank you, Lucida.
Mhm.
So here are some additional examples of things that you can tie in. If you're bilingual, if you used to work in sales, you have a family member who was previously in real estate or maybe in lending, title, you've had some type of construction background, something that you're bringing from the world. Melissa, you're a perfect example. You have a history in lending, so you're bringing that skill to the table. If you have a degree in financing, accounting, that type of thing. I had project management background. People loved hearing that because they knew I was on top of things, right? When you're in project management, you're doing all the things and there's timeliness. And so, yeah, figuring out what your skill set is to bring that to the table. So the next slide here, and I think this goes on to your next page, the KW Market Center value. We're going to look at some possible ways you can charge up your value propositions with what we've already learned. So with your KW value, we talked a little bit about this, Gary did. I have access to the collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200,000 agents worldwide. That's huge. And we have local market share, right? As a fiduciary, I can point you to reputable resources for service providers such as handymen, window washers, tax associates, financial advisors. Of course, we have title and lenders, inspectors, but they're going to be looking to you for a lot of different things. If they're selling and they need to do a few things before you list the property, they're going to be looking to you for those resources. So I encourage you, again, we talked about how collaborative our Keller Williams family is. I encourage you, if you don't have a list of your own of allied resources is what we call them, right? then I encourage you to connect with other seasoned agents in your market center to get referrals, or to go onto your Facebook mastermind page and do a search for a handyman or a tax advisor or window washer, all these different things, because the questions have probably been asked before. And if you search by that key, you'll come up with those referrals. Okay. As far as the market expert, yeah, you can help them price your home to sell because you're very tuned into the market of the moment. And that is just a key feature right now as we're going through this shift. And, what happened, 2-3 months ago it's a different story right now. So keeping on top of that, your buyers and sellers want to know that you're the expert and you have the up-to-date information, not the information from 2 weeks ago or 30 days ago, because guess what? That's outdated, right? All right. So what are some ahas about the importance of having a strong value proposition?
I like the finger on the pulse.
Mhm.
I like that saying.
Good.
People need to know why should they hire you versus, anybody else. You have to have a unique value to provide to them.
Mhm. And, we're all out there doing the same thing, right? We're all helping buyers and sellers, but who we are and how we do it is very different. We get to bring our own experience, our own personality, our own skill set to that. And doing your value proposition, it's not tooting your own horn, it's highlighting your skills and what you're good at. And we're going to go into talking about what buyers and sellers are looking for most so that we can marry those things together to create a very powerful value proposition for you moving forward. So thank you all for participating in that. We're going to go ahead and move on. Okay, so on that note, as I said, part of that important step in creating a highly valued proposition statement is understanding what your buyers and sellers want, what matters most to them. So that's the next step that we're going to be talking about. And on your participant guide, you have a spot on page 5. Actually, bear with me. I'm sorry, it's on page 6. So we're going to start going through that. So, and the main purpose for buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price, at the right time, with the least amount of problems. And for sellers, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least number of problems. And it's interesting, that's a key thing for both of them, the least number of problems. So understanding what buyers and sellers want out of the real estate experience, it's not complex. This is not brain surgery, right? You could have guessed these things without me having it on a slideshow for you. It still requires that you know the purpose of real estate. And the purpose of real estate is different for buyers and sellers. There are some differences. In the Millionaire Real Estate, Gary explains that for buyers, their goal is to find just the right home, best price, right time, least amount of problems. And for sellers, it's to net the most amount of money in the shortest time, also with the least amount of problems. Many of us are working with both a buyer and a seller because they're selling their home and they're buying a new home, right? And so you're balancing a lot of different things. But the key thing for both of those, the commonality is the least amount of problems, right? So being that agent who can help them go through that experience with the least amount of problems is a key element. What happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand the purpose of the differences of what buyers and sellers want? So Felicia, you're unmuted. Were you going to say something?
No,
No? Okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
I mean,
Go ahead.
The question was what happens if you don't know the difference between what buyers and sellers want?
Right. What happens to their experience as a buyer and seller? If you really don't know what they want, what's most important to them, what could happen?
I mean, you could lose them as a client.
You lose them as a client. They could also potentially have a really poor experience if what you think is important to them and what they need isn't in alignment, right? So this is a generalization of what's important. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about that phrase, the commonality there of with the least amount of problems. Okay, it's important for both of them. And sometimes problems are going to occur. And with your knowledge and your due diligence, they can either be prevented or you can walk through them pretty easily. Okay, so that it doesn't blow up, it doesn't end the deal. It's having that knowledge and knowing that these are common problems. These are things that might happen during a transaction, being prepared for that, educating them. You know, we get back to that education piece. I would let my buyers and sellers know, hey, this could happen. We're going to do A, B, and C to prevent that. But I just want to let you know that sometimes this could happen. Having that conversation and just throwing that in there, not to scare them, to let them know you've got their back. Don't be afraid that, yeah, that could happen. However, if it does, we've got A, B, and C taken care of, right? That is going to give them the confidence. If we don't have those conversations with them up front and something happens, they might feel nervous. They might feel like they're not educated about the process. They might feel left out. They might think that the deal's going to go south. There's a lot of things. So letting them know what may occur and how you're going to handle it. And again, you have these conversations based on your client and your relationship with them and what you think that they need going through that transaction. That's going to be different for buyers and for sellers. As a real estate agent, what are some of the possible challenges you can anticipate for your clients and how can you prevent or minimize them?
You could have a sinking foundation. You could have a bad roof. You could have, well, you could have all kinds of problems. Hot water heater's got to be strapped, you know, little things that you can see walking through the house that may need to be done long before you get inspected.
Right. And representing on that, Tim, are you representing buyer, seller?
Well, that would be for a seller.
Okay, so.
But you would want to see that stuff, you know, if that's going to come up for your buyer, you know, they're not going to want to move into a house with a sinking foundation.
Exactly. So when you're dealing specifically with a listing and with a seller, you're doing a preview of that house, correct?
Well, yeah, you should.
Right. And if you notice things that could come up, it doesn't mean, hey, you need to put a new roof on now, or you need to replace that water heater. But hey, these are some things I noticed, and I'm giving you a heads up that it may come up and the buyer may ask for you to replace this or give a credit, because if you don't have that conversation with them and they get to the table and the buyer's asking for that, they might have pushback, right? So it's important to have those conversations ahead of time. And if it's something major that could prevent them from selling it altogether, a foundation issue, that's not a little problem, that's a big problem, right? And so it is important.
It can be.
It can be, yeah. I mean, replacing a hot water heater is small in comparison.
Well, I was more or less talking about, you know, hot water heaters have to be strapped to the studs, you know, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Nowadays, and my first transaction, that was when I just happened to know that, and I noticed walking through her house that it wasn't strapped. It, you know, just had a guy come out, he charged her $120, and you know, all taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And as you go through your transactions, you know, and you work with your inspectors too, you know what your inspectors are looking for and at. So as you start working with your clients more and more, you're going through the house. And I always tell my clients, you know, you might not always like what I have to say, but I'm always going to be honest with you. Okay. So if you know what their big why is, you know what they're looking for, you've done the needs analysis and you've gone deep with them to know what's what. you will be able to go through a home and point things out to them, as well as looking at, hey, is my HVAC unit in good condition? You know, the air conditioned unit. If there's a pool, what does that look like? I know there are some pools here, you know, stepping back to look at the roof as you're driving up to it. You don't have pictures on top. You're not going to climb a tree and get right up there, but you can notice things, right? Is there mold? Do faucets work? You know, sometimes buyers don't try things out. I always encourage my buyers, you know, turn the water on, turn the shower on, you know, what is that? Does it get hot? Does it get hotter? Does it go cold? That type of thing. Just some of those things you can do preliminarily.
One of the number one questions I've been getting at open houses is, what year was the roof completed? You know, is it, you know, how old is the roof? And that isn't usually in the RMLS listing.
No, you're right. It's not. There's opportunity for you to converse with the other agent, the listing agent, if that's a priority for your buyer, to ask that question. And it's also something that you can then say that's something that your inspector is going to take a look at and can provide information at that time, you know, if it's questionable. Right. So is there anything else that you think of that might pop up that you can prevent by having that conversation with them ahead of time?
Maybe financing or something like that. You know, if how much they owe on the house, you know, if they're about to be upside down, what their lowest, you know, for a seller, you know, what the lowest they can take and, you know, have and make money on the deal or something.
Yeah, that's a really important one, Gary, is having it's not just the buyers who need to talk to their lender about what things look like, it's your sellers too, right? What's their financial goal? And all of those details. What do I owe on the house? What do I need to net? Is there anything standing in the way of them moving forward to purchase another home if they need to? And I was very adamant with my listings that they needed to, if they needed to talk to my lender, they didn't need to use my lender, but we needed to get a screenshot of what things look like. So I felt comfortable moving forward. Early on in my career, I had a listing, and the seller, we took the listing, but prior to taking the listing, I tried to connect him with a lender so he could get that snapshot. And he said, oh no, I'm good. I'm golden. I've got somebody I'm working with. Good to go. We moved forward, no contingencies or anything, even though I recommended it. And we sold the house, and he was not able to purchase a new house because of some financial issue that his lender did not know about or find prior to that happening. And it was not a good situation. And I didn't feel bad about it because I literally had my lender reach out to him directly. I had multiple CYA, I had multiple emails, you know, to say, hey, I would really appreciate if you would just do this, blah, blah, blah. So that was a good lesson for me, and it allowed me to have that conversation with future people. That's great. I'm so glad that you have a lender you love. I would, if you don't mind, just let my lender take a quick look at it so there aren't any surprises, right? It's more information for them to make the best decision. I call it a second look, right? Because that can, if it's not done right, that can be a real challenge for your sellers that you could minimize ahead of time by having that conversation. So thank you for bringing that up, Gary, because that's a big one. And it's not just your buyers who need them, it's your sellers too. Okay. So another thing, if your seller's having second thoughts about selling their home, to prevent or minimize challenges, doing an updated CMA, and here's a biggie, is reminding them of their motivation to move. Remind the sellers about their destination. and discuss the risk of starting over. So this is where knowing their big why is such a key factor for both your buyers and your sellers. And ask the question. We know to dig deep. You know, we're taught through MREA, ask the question, ask the question, ask the question. Tell me more about that. What would that look like for you? And being able to bring that up when there is a challenge, rather than going back to square one. It's like, hey, we're already this far, and what would it look like if you had to continue to pay your mortgage for the next, month or two? There's different things that you can say to bring them back to their big why, whether it's they're moving out of state because of their grandchildren, or they're moving into a bigger house, they're downsizing, whatever their big why is. It's not that they're downsizing because of why. It's making sure you ask all those questions up front and being able to refer back to them, because just selling the house so that they can move out of state, well, that's not a big enough reason. What is the why do they want to move out of state? Because they want to spend more time with their grandkids, right? So bringing that into the conversation so it's relevant and it brings it back top of mind for them. So some general strategies you can have in place to prevent or minimize challenges are to understand the mindset of your buyer and your seller. Communicate often with everybody involved, the stakeholders. That's not just your client, it's keeping everybody on the same page with lending and title as well. Spending enough time with your clients. Handle or closely oversee the contract to close process. So even if some of you, I know at the beginning, you are encouraged to do your own contracts from start to close. As you get busier, you may opt to bring in a transaction coordinator. It's still staying in, even though you might not handle it directly, it's staying in close contact and communication throughout the whole process. Okay. Anticipating challenges and taking the action, the preventive action to avoid them, and looking for creative solutions. All right, so we're going to move on to the top 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. Doing the needs analysis. And these are the top 10 service areas from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book as well. So we're quickly going to go over these of the services that you're going to provide to your buyers, and we're going to cover them in more detail in upcoming sessions of Ignite. So this is just going to be your overview for today as it relates to building your value proposition around what those needs are. So a needs analysis, pre-qualifying or pre-approval, providing neighborhood information, a home search that matches their needs analysis, making an offer that is appropriate for the market so that you get a win for them, negotiating that purchase, and vendor coordination. Again, your inspector, your lender, title, handyman, everybody that you're using. Pre-closing preparation, the close, and then the post-closing. So a lot of people, that number 10 is an important step. Don't discount that. It's not number 9. I've closed, I've got my commission check, I'm moving on to the next, especially for those of you that want to work by referral. Number 10, how you handle that post-closing and that relationship moving forward is a huge item. Now, for your seller, some similarities, your needs analysis, then you're going to talk about pricing strategy, your property preparation, which comes into play with what some of you have already said. What does the property look like? What might need to be done? Your marketing strategy. When you receive an offer, reviewing all the elements of an offer. And that's a key thing. It's not just what is the bottom line number? How is the offer structured? Is it a VA? Is it an FHA? Is it down payment assistance? How long do they need for inspection? Have they shortened the inspection? There's so many different elements to making a strong offer. And not, it's not always apples to apples. Okay. So it's not just the bottom line. Keeping in mind as a fiduciary, what do your clients, what is their big why? Okay. Negotiating the sale, actually doing a pre-close preparation, closing and then again post-closing. Your sellers, even if those that might be selling and moving out of state, it's so important that post-close connection, because guess what? They may have lived here for 30 years before they decided to move out of state to where their grandkids are. That means that what? They have a huge, say it, Emily?
Referral base?
Yes, they have a huge sphere of influence here.
Yeah.
By staying in a relationship with them, they're going to refer people that they know here, right? So again, don't think just because they're moving, they're out of touch. You keep them in your database, you connect with them, you check and say, hey, how are the grandkids? You know, staying in touch. All right. Do we have any questions so far?
What would be some other examples of post-closing for a seller?
So for post-closing for a seller, I always, and every agent's different. I always did a closing gift for my sellers as well as my buyers.
Okay.
I stay in communication with them. I became friends with most of my clients, buyers and sellers. So I connect with them on social media if they're on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform. That is a great way to keep in touch with them as far as, you know, we're doing life and we all like to do business with people we like, right? And so even before they were a client, I would still connect with them on that level, because then we got to see each other and interact. And if, you know, if their child got an award at school, I could send them a message of congratulations, you know, things like this. So staying in touch with them. We did things for all of our clients for birthdays, and not just the, you know, husband, wife, spouses, partners, but the kids. It wasn't so much the adult that got the birthday card, they did, but with the kids, we would follow up and send, like we found out at the beginning of the transaction, we would ask questions like, do you like Starbucks, Dutch Brothers, Human Bean? And then with the kids, we would want to find out, hey, did they like Baskin Robbins or Dairy Queen or Cold Stone or whatever those are? At their birthday, we would send them a card with a gift card in it so that they could go out for ice cream. Nobody's doing stuff like that, right? For the kids, when you take care of people's kids, that's huge. Husband and wife, partners, if it was their anniversary, we would send anniversary and we would find out, you know, what restaurants they liked. And it was so funny because when we did this, they were always different. Husband and wife never liked the same restaurant. It seemed so funny. But I would send out like a $50 gift card with an anniversary card for them to go have dinner, you know? And so that's a way to stay post-closing in contact and communication. The pop buys, you know, there's so I could talk for days because it's a relationship business, right? And I loved that part of working with my clients because it's making friends and it's staying in relationship with them long after the sale. And so we can talk more about that, Gary, but great question.
I was like, sounds like we need to have another chapter of the book.
Exactly. I could talk for days on that stuff. I have a lot of ideas. So it was one of my favorite things to do because working by referral and building that relationship is huge. And I'm a creative and I love to do different things and everybody does things different. So we would do like, you know, they talk about client events. Well, we would do different things for different client groups. You know, we did happiness hours a lot, but if they had little kids, we would do Easter egg hunts. You know, not everybody wants to go to a happy hour. We did movie night. Some people don't like movies, you know, so you just kind of have to figure it out. You don't have to do the same thing for all your clients. Once you get to know them, you can put them in a different group and invite them to different things and events that you have in the future. Okay. And these are people who they're your fan. They love you. They like you. And when they come to a party, they get to talk about you as well. And they're going to bring referrals to you. You know, that's the other thing about getting your clients together. It's good energy. Nice. All right. So moving on. Okay. We are now going to talk about, for the next few slides, we're going to look at data this is from the 2021 report of NAR about what matters most to our buyers and sellers when they're looking to hire an agent. So the graph is going to cover the top responses and categorizes everything else as other. Okay, so there's a group of other. The number one 52% is help finding the right home to purchase. Okay. Number 2, help the buyer negotiate the term of the sale. That drops all the way down to 13%. Okay. Help with price negotiations is 11%. Other is 24%. Other things are, helping with paperwork, looking at comps, how much can they afford in a home. That's working with their lender and helping to arrange financing, learning more about the rest or the neighborhood, if they're coming in from out of area, things like that is other category. But 52%, it's helping them find the right home to purchase. So what do you think you need to do in order to meet that 52% for your client?
Man, probably knock out that needs analysis till you're blue in the face.
Yes.
And also make sure that you know what's available all the time. That's where previewing homes, the 10 homes per week comes in.
Being a market expert.
Yep. You guys are knocking it out of the park. Yep. And it's that needs analysis. You're right. It's asking the right questions, because you can't find them the right home if you don't know what that right home looks like for them, right? And if you're not on top of the market and knowing what is available out there, it's so exciting when you really know those two things. You know exactly what they're looking for because you've asked all the right questions and what's important to them and their family. And you know the market and the houses that are available because you study the market on a daily basis. You've gone to open houses, you've gone to the walkthroughs. When you know those two things, that's golden for your client, right? Because you know what they want and you know how to fill that need for them. And you can do it like that, right? Let's see here. We also need to keep in mind that these results are from buyers being asked to state the one thing that's the most important to them. Most buyers need help with paperwork, learning the neighborhood, getting connected with a lender. Yet when we asked about just one thing, they said that it's helping them find the right home to purchase. So the skills or services that you offer to align with what that buyer wants, that's what you're going to be writing down in your book. If you haven't taken notes yet, you need to write that down. It's knowing the market and asking enough questions so that you feel very clear. And have we ever, I know you guys are, some of you are newer agents. For those of you that have maybe done a few transactions, have you ever had a couple that are not on the same page about what they want in a house? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So how was that? How fun is that?
It's hard. And it's also the buyers I've been working with are family members too. So that's even trickier.
You get that added benefit, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes working with close family and friends can be the most challenging at times, right? So finding out if you work with a couple, whether it's a couple or it could be a multi-generational situation where, you have a mom who's moving in with her daughter and son-in-law, something like that, an extended family. And you start to see quickly that, okay, they're not on the same page because I think I've shown them the homes that meet their needs, but it's not happening. One time I had a husband and wife, and I literally had them fill out on a sheet of paper. One side was, what are your top 5? And what do you think your spouse's top 5 are, right? And they did that, and we got back together and we went through and we had conversations, because again, you put on that hat, you wear a lot of hats. Sometimes you're a marriage counselor, right? And it's figuring out, allowing them to come to terms with what's most important, right? So sometimes finding the right home for them is helping them get more clear on what that right home looks like for them. And it's okay to ask those questions if you find they're not on the same page. Okay. So when we ask about the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, this is a little bit different. There we go. Okay, the top factors when choosing an agent. The agent is honest and trustworthy. That's only 20%. And I say only because that kind of surprised me, right?
Right.
Like, I want to
That is
work with a
crazy.
shady agent. Okay. The agent's experience is 19%. The reputation of the agent is 14%. Other is 44%. Okay. Now 44% in the other could be that the agent is a friend or family member. They have knowledge of my specific neighborhood. They're caring. They have a great personality. They're good with communication and timely responses.
Maybe they're a referral.
Yep, they're a referral. The agent seems 100% accessible because of the technology that they use, you know, and they respond quickly because they're on their cell phones all the time. And they're active in the community with volunteering, different things. So even though that agent is honest and trustworthy is only 20%, it's still the most important thing. Okay, all those other things, the agent's a family member, friend, referral, that's 13%. So even though I thought 20% was a little low, it's still the highest and the most important is that the agent is honest and trustworthy. So if you resonate with any of these factors, consider including them in your value proposition. And we're going to practice taking these attributes and putting them into a client-centered language. So hopefully you'll get some ideas for when you're composing your value proposition. So let's select one of the factors that buyers value and rephrase it into language that explains its value to the buyer. So for example, they want an agent who is honest and trustworthy. You could turn that into, you can depend on me to help you make the best decisions, or I will work to serve your best interests. Can somebody else share how that could be translated into a value statement?
Something like, you know, even though I'm new, I will never steer you the wrong way. If I don't have the answer to that question, I have hundreds of years of experience back at the office, a phone call away.
I love that. Yeah. Anyone else?
So like if maybe you come from a sales background, you could just mention, you know, your many years of sales experience instead of saying, you know, you don't have a lot of real estate experience, but you do have a lot of sales experience that would help you with your transaction or, you know, something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Okay, so we've looked at what buyers want, and now we're going to look at what sellers want most from their agent. There we go. What sellers want most from their agent. All right, so help pricing the home competitively. That's 21%. Help seller market the home to potential buyers, 20%. Help sell the home within a specific time frame, 16%. Help the seller find ways to fix up the home to sell it for more. That's also 16%. And other is 27%. So some of the other categories are helping find a buyer for the home. And when you're out there and you're working with buyers and sellers, that's a great thing. And having market share in your area with Keller Williams, you have access to a lot of buyers and sellers, right? Helping with the negotiation and dealing with the buyers, helping with paperwork, inspections, settlement. Those are some of the other categories, okay? The number one, almost tied, is helping price the home and help sell, or excuse me, help market the home, okay? So pricing and marketing. And when asked about the most important factors in choosing a real estate agent, the top 3 answers are the reputation of the agent at 32%, the agent's honest and trustworthy at 19%, and the agent is a friend or family member came in at 17%, others 44%, and that can be the agent's knowledge of the neighborhood, that they're a good listener, they have a caring personality, the agent's commission, they do take that into consideration at 4%. So it's not as high as some people would think. Those other things are much more important to them than your commission, okay? So the reputation of the agent is a key factor. And what do they consider the top response when choosing an agent is the reputation? So if you're a new agent, you might be wondering if you'll be at a disadvantage, right? Because you're still in the early stages of building your career and your reputation in the area as an agent, as a broker. However, we encourage you to lean on the powerhouse reputation. When you join the Keller Williams family, you have, as we talked earlier and Gary brought up, we have 200,000 agents throughout the nation, because it's not just the US, we have international as well. Keller Williams is huge. So you can tell your potential clients that KW has the strongest reputation in our market for helping people with their real estate needs in the fastest time frame and with the least number of problems. That's a statistic, okay, that Keller Williams. So write that down if you didn't. Keller Williams has the strongest reputation in our market for helping people with their real estate needs in the fastest time frame and with the least number of problems. All right, did everybody get that?
Yeah, I think as a new agent, you can also share like, yeah, I'm brand new, but I've gone through the most like recent training that there is. I'm on like the cutting edge of technology, and I'm most up to date because I just through all of that.
Yes, those are great additions. Thank you for that. Cutting edge of technology. I like that.
So when I went on my seller's presentation, when I got my listing, she asked me, she says, how many homes have you sold? And I was like, you know what? You're my lucky first house.
Mm-hmm.
And since I don't have any other clients, I'm going to work the hardest for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just broke it out like that. It's like, you're my first client, so I'm going to work the hardest.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to distract me. So.
That's wonderful, Gary. And that's being truly honest and authentic and connecting with your client. And they chose you for a reason, right? And just because you're new, that's okay. And again, reinforcing the fact that, like Tim just said, I may not know the answer to that particular question, but I have X amount of years of experienced agents at my fingertips to help me. I have that resource, and people know the reputation of Keller Williams. They know how we educate. They're in good hands. So it's, you have a whole team around you. One of the cool things that I heard on one of the calls with Keller Williams International, there was a gentleman who was new in real estate, but he did a video of the agents and the office. So he went around and he showed, like, for our office here in Eugene Springfield, he showed Lauren, who is our ASC and MCTT at the front desk. and Sarah and our principal broker and the team leader and kind of highlighted the different people, because that's your team. We are your team. Your instructors are your team. Your fellow agents are part of your team. And so just, even though it's you and you're solo and you're new, you have a whole team around you to support you, right? I thought that was brilliant that this guy did it, because his clients, he had music in the background and whatever, and he showed it. Hey, here's my office. Here's where I work. Here's my team. And, you know, it gives confidence, right? All right. Let's see. Now that we've looked at all the trends of what's important to our buyers and our sellers, what's important to them through the process, but also when choosing an agent for their listing or for their purchase, there are some differences between what they need. And why do you think those differences exist? That's kind of a silly question. It's kind of it's basic, right? They're doing two different transactions. Okay, so a buyer wants to pay the least amount of money, right? A seller wants the most amount of money. That's pretty much logic. Any other things that you guys want to add to why you think those differences exist between buyers and sellers and what's important to them? Okay. All right, we're going to move on. Now, I popped into an Ignite session, I think at the very beginning. Mara did Spark Your, what was it called? Spark Your Career. And I heard her briefly talk about your KW technology and how that can tie into your value proposition. So have you all downloaded the app? Yes? Fantastic. If you haven't, I encourage you to do that. Keller Williams is committed to adding to your value proposition. In today's market, that means investing in technology and propelling your business forward. Being with Keller Williams means that the essentials you need to start building your brand and nurturing your relationships are available to you as a Keller Williams agent. So here are a few of the features that Command provides for you and your clients. Smart plans. And I know in a class earlier today that Tim was in, he said, yeah, he's already got his database started on smart plans. So track your contacts and leads with customized intelligence and build deeper, more meaningful relationships with your entire sphere. And this can be on autopilot. So Command, how many can you guys, I can't see you all, but can you raise your hand for just a minute? How many people are using Command? Number one for the question.
Me.
Okay, fantastic. How many of you have your clients on smart plans?
Me.
So like 3 of you, 4 of you? Okay, that's
You
fantastic.
gotta use the smart plans.
Sorry, I apparently was clicking the wrong spot. Bear with me 1 second, guys. A little preview of what's to come. Okay, technology, thank you. So with that, the smart plans, that is your way to auto drip on your sphere and your database. You set it up once and it's just going to do the work for you. And as people engage with you from that, that's kind of them raising their hand, and you can go that step further, right? There's a lot of smart plans out there that already exist. You can search for them. You just need to tweak them. And there are classes on that as well. The KW app is, of course, your end-to-end user app. It uses the power of AI. Basically, it's machine learning. And so it interacts with your client base based on how they interact with the app. Okay. Agent sites, your website, it allows your contacts to save the searches for homes, and it allows you to create specific searches based on what they're actually doing. So if you see they're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, and they only want single story, that's all they've looked at, you can actually set something up for them to receive that particular set. Okay, and price range. So how can you incorporate technology and what Keller Williams offers for you as an agent? How can you incorporate that into your value proposition?
You can mention you have top of the line technology to help them in their home search, or to decipher market trends, or what was that term you used? I forgot, but yeah, just cutting edge technology at their fingertips.
Mm-hmm. Yep, innovative technology. They can handle most of your transactions through your phone or your laptop. It's all about convenience for them. You've got your DocuSign. Yeah, lots of different opportunity there with technology. All right.
I will make a suggestion for the smart plans though.
Yes.
Send it to yourself first before you send it out to any clients or anything, just to make sure that you have everything where you need it to be, and say what needs to be said.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And like
Yeah.
we talked about earlier today as well, add yourself to a smart plan. Like do it
Yes.
first, but then if you're doing one or a new one, add yourself to it so that you're seeing what they get, because
Mhm.
there's nothing worse once it goes on autopilot and you don't see it for 6 months and somebody calls you about it and you're like, what? If you're getting those as well, you'll be up to date on the information that you're sending out.
Right.
Yeah. Any other ahas so far? All right, so we all knew what was important to buyers and sellers going in then, right? We're all good? So we've covered what a value proposition is and what matters both to our buyers and sellers and how we provide value to benefit our customers. And what we're going to do now is design our own value proposition. Okay. So now that we've learned the basics of what a value proposition is, we're going to talk about how to define your own value proposition moving forward. There are 3 steps in defining your value proposition: identifying your specific knowledge, attitude, skill, and belief that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. Number 2 is to transform the value you provide and the value of KW and your market center into the benefits for your clients. So it's transforming that value into a benefit. And 3, building your value proposition statement. Okay. We're going to go into further detail over the next few slides, and you'll also get an opportunity to start defining your value proposition as we go through each of the steps. So number 1 is identifying your knowledge, attitude, skills, and beliefs that make you uniquely qualified to be a great real estate agent for your clients. For your value proposition to resonate in a meaningful way with your clients, it must be aligned with who you are and the attributes that you truly have. So, you see value propositions, taglines, different things on a lot of different marketing, and you might think, I'm just going to steal that. Great, but you want to make sure that it truly is in alignment and resonates with you and your skill set and your personality. So it's very unique. Take parts and pieces, but make it your own. Break it down into what knowledge do I bring to the job? Perhaps, we talked earlier, you have a degree in accounting, law, financing, or you've worked in construction, you've been a previous lender. What attitude are you bringing to the job? Are you caring, confident, committed, honest? And what skills do you offer? Maybe you're really, really good at tech, or you're able to help others learn, like we heard earlier from the teacher. So maybe you're great at negotiating, whatever your background is on that. Oh, okay. Amanda's leaving us. Bye, Amanda. All right. Whoops. So what beliefs do I offer? That's where your equity, integrity, that's where that comes in. So I want you to fill out the chart in the participant guide with your attribute. Okay, so we're going to take a few moments to do that. You have your guide. You should all be on that page. Defining your value and filling out your attributes. So your knowledge. And I'm going to put you on mute while you guys take a few minutes to fill those out. Okay, how are we all doing on that? Knowledge, attitude, skills, and belief. Okay, the next thing that I want you to do after you've filled everything out and you have some key elements in each of the boxes, I want you to circle attributes that align with what buyers and sellers value based on the NAR data we talked about previously. Okay, and then star the attribute that shows how you stand out as an agent. So circle the attributes that align with what they're looking for and star the ones that stand out for you as an agent. Okay, everybody good to move on? Okay. We're going to look at step 2 in the value proposition, and that is transforming the value you provide and the value of KW in your market center into the actual benefits for your clients. So your value proposition statement expresses the value you provide in language that makes it relevant to your clients. Just like the value proposition statements Gary read earlier in the session, Airbnb, Walmart, etc. We're going to put that into language that makes it relevant to your clients. So not something fancy pants that sounds good from, think of your client base, who you're talking to, and make it relevant to them. So think through how your knowledge, attitude, skills, beliefs are beneficial to your clients. Many of your life experiences are relevant to real estate. Okay, if you don't see it, look at it from another angle. Even if you haven't articulated it to yourself, you've already used your experience to help others. Okay, perhaps you're a teacher or a Little League coach. You have experience helping others. How did your personal experience make you especially helpful? And how can you use it in the future? When you're considering how to make it real estate relevant, think about what buyers and sellers say are the most important factors to them. Okay, so refer back to that as you're writing this down. Now think about how the value you receive from Keller Williams and the market center here can provide benefits to your client. Let's say your market center averages 98.9% of listing price. Okay, when you're meeting with a potential client, you can share that statistic with them. However, it doesn't convey the full scope of your personal value to your clients. So instead, you can say something like, you get the best sales price for your home due to my thorough training in negotiation. That's a strong statement, right? You can also think about the services you offer.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, sorry. You can also think about the services you offer that are made faster, more convenient, or more accurate when you use the Keller Williams technology, such as Command or the KW app. Okay. And next, we're going to go to page 11 in your handout. And there's 2 charts. The first chart is related to the value you provide, and the second is related to the value you receive from the market center. Okay. So you're going to fill out what your knowledge, attitude, skill, and belief on one side, and how does that benefit your client? So we're getting really specific here. So we have a broad scope. Say, for instance, you put integrity as one of your attitude, skills, or beliefs. And the benefit to your client might be that you're honest, dedicated service, and the assurance that you'll keep the commitments you make. Okay, so it's taking that word or that attribute and putting it into a benefit to your client. How does that translate? And same thing, in like manner, you're going to do that with the Keller Williams market center value. So if you're talking about the KW app, for example, you could say from appointment to close, the KW app's feature provide opportunities to stay connected with your client, or, you as the client can stay connected with me, your broker, throughout the entire transaction. And we're going to take about, it says 10 minutes, but I'm going to shorten that. I think we're going to do that in like 5 minutes. And if you guys don't complete it, then you can complete it afterwards. Is that fair? Okay. In fact, can we do this when you have completed both of those charts and you have a couple of things on each with the statement? Will you just write done in the chat? Got a couple more minutes. You guys getting close?
I thought of a skill that we hadn't really talked about today, but like if you've lived in your area for a while, you could use that to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, I've lived in this community for, I'm a local expert.
Yep, local expert. That's excellent, Emily. I have found there are quite a few, being new to the area myself, I have found I'm the oddball. It seems like so many people that I have met, they're actually originally from here. They've been here for a very, very long time. So being a local expert is a good thing for sure. All right, we're going to move on to step number 3, which is actually, now that we've done the work and we've put some thought into these things, building your value proposition. The strongest value proposition for your clients combines the value you offer backed by the value offered by Keller Williams in your market center. Okay, we're partners in business with you. We help support you. Remember, it's not about perfection. As I talked about earlier, your value proposition is most likely going to change as you learn and grow skills and grow confidence and have more experience. But taking it from a start so that you have something to put out there and offer, and you can start marketing this, your value proposition. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Start with it and then modify it as your career grows. So I'm going to share with you my value proposition. I have to look it up because I don't have it memorized. So when I ran my team, my value proposition, this covered the team. The Spell Homes team is comprised of realtors who provide their clients with the highest level of integrity, professionalism, and expertise while guiding them through the process of achieving their real estate goals. So that was our value proposition summed up. And then we had a tagline: service you deserve, people you can trust. And so that tagline was on all of our marketing. Value proposition was on, website, social media. We had it on our buyer and seller books, anywhere we could expand it a little bit, it was there. But our tagline, service you deserve, people you can trust, was everywhere. So, all right, so what we're going to do is build your value proposition using at least 2 of the benefits that you wrote down in step 2. All right. So you just got through making that chart. We're going to pick at least 2 of those items to highlight while making your value proposition. And if you guys, do you want to do this individually? You can also partner. I can try to do breakout rooms for you, or what works best for you guys. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so we'll stick with the individual, writing it down, and then we're going to do some sharing afterwards. And you're going to have 5 minutes. Lucida, I just got your done. Are you done with your actual value proposition statement? Or the chart?
I was for the chart.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, and as you're done with your value proposition, just unmute yourself. And we're going to share that. And we're going to have open feedback. You guys are in a safe place here. Okay. So what we share, if you want some input, if you need a little help, that's what we're here to do. Okay. But as you complete that, let me know. And we're going to share that with the group. And I've got to tell you, this has been fun for me. So thank you for allowing me to teach and for being here and showing up. I really appreciate it. And it's fun because we're going to see something that we talked about and worked on, and you're going to go away with something today, something that you created.
Okay, I wrote mine.
Okay.
I wrote, as you navigate your real estate transaction, I can use my local knowledge backed by the strong reputation of Keller Williams to help accomplish your real estate goals in the fastest time frame possible, release some problems.
Wow, that's great. Can you type that out in the chat? Thank you for sharing, Emily. Okay, just a reminder, you guys, this does not have to be, this is not perfection. It's not going to print right now. It's a work in progress, so no pressure.
The more you talk.
That's where I'm struggling.
Yep, I hear ya. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to come up with like the perfect thing to say. It's not. It's taking just two of those things and writing a sentence or two, because this is, oh, my Mac's gonna die. Hold on. There you go. It is a work in progress, but it's coming out with at least just the framework of that. So for those of you who don't have anything specific written out yet, do you have a couple of key elements that you know you want to highlight? So Melissa, what are your key elements?
So what I'm starting with is with 20 years of mortgage lending experience and the support of basically the support of Keller Williams agents and the continued training, I aim to be not only an agent for my clients, but a solid resource, you know, throughout the entire transaction and after.
Perfect. So that's a really solid start to it. And I think it's just streamlining it a little bit, right? You've got those.
Exactly.
So you've got those key elements there, and you know how you're going to translate that into what benefit it is for the client. So you've got those key elements there. It's just a matter of putting it into a little bit prettier package, right?
Exactly. That's where I'm struggling.
Yeah. Okay. So how can we help? So because that's what we want to do is help and support each other here through this. So Emily's, I love yours. For those of you that couldn't hear Emily, because again, for some reason she's going in and out. Hers is, as you navigate your real estate transaction, I can use my local knowledge backed by the strong reputation of Keller Williams to help accomplish your real estate goals in the fastest time frame possible with the least number of problems. Okay, so that's a lot. And it's very, very good. Do we have any feedback for Emily? Crickets.
I would say maybe instead of I can use my local knowledge, I would say I will.
Perfect.
Or with my local knowledge.
And I think I would add one more word in there after backed by the strong reputation of Keller Williams to help you accomplish your real estate goals. What do you guys think of that? Is that too much, too many words?
That's the first line of mine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And Melissa, yours again. With 20 years experience as a lender, coupled with the support of, so you're talking about the Keller Williams agents, coupled with the support of, Keller Williams.
That's exactly what I'm struggling with, is how to word that, because
Yeah.
it's not just one, there's like we've all been talking about, the agents here, the seasoned agents, everybody's so open arms to suggestions, advice, help. You can pretty much talk to anybody and they'd be willing to help you. So that's where I'm, I think, really struggling with the verbiage.
Coupled with the support of, yeah, I want to think on that too. Coupled with the support of family of agents. All right, again, I'm telling you, it's a great start with 20 years of experience. I love doing things like this in writing. So if you want collaboration, I know you're going to talk with Corin. I would love to see, and I'm going to ask you all this because we're coming up to time. We have 5 minutes before class ends. I would love to hear, you guys can feel free to email me what you have. I would love to see that. And how far is anybody else completed theirs?
I'm
Gary?
finished.
Great. Can you read yours, Gary?
Sure. To help you reach your real estate goals while providing exceptional service and using the highest level of communication to ensure that you have the real estate experience you want for family and friends.
That's good.
I kind of bit it off some, but
Hey, again, this is a work in progress. And I think what you guys leave with here today, you're going to read it, you're going to let it set, you're going to say it, you're going to share it, it's going to resonate, and you're going to tweak it, right? You're going to change a few words here and there. You might take something out, add something in. It's just getting the idea and understanding, again, what is a value proposition? What's important to your buyers and your sellers, and tying that in there. So it states it, just like on Emily, she just really literally stated it, so that you have the least amount of problems, because she knew that that was a commonality, right? Between our buyers and our sellers is the least amount of problems. That's what they're most concerned about. Or I guess that's the commonality. So it hits both sides. And it's okay if they sound a little bit similar. I mean, you heard mine. It's not very unique. We all say the same things. Realtors have the same taglines and stuff. So and that's okay. But using like, we each have our own experience, like Melissa's saying, with over 20 years experience in lending, coupled with, a powerhouse, brokerage like Keller Williams, something like that.
My background is nursing, and I'm struggling to know whether I should incorporate that specifically or just talk about, I said, like, I will advocate for your needs above all else and use my backing of Keller Williams. I'm still trying to figure that part out, but I don't know if I should specifically talk about nursing. I do in my bio, but.
Yeah, it's great in your bio. And I love how, because in nursing, you are an advocate, you're caring, you're attentive, right? You're all of those things. So you don't have to say necessarily in your statement and your value proposition that you were a nurse. It's great that it's in your bio. People that go to your website or your Facebook, wherever you have that, that's fantastic. But there's so many features that you can pull from nursing into your statement. And this is, you guys, toot your own horn. All right. This is permission to make yourself sound amazing, because you are, and this is what you use for your value proposition is going to engage those clients who are going through and they see, 20 different realtors, right? What's going to make you stand out? Anybody else have a work in progress they'd love to share? Okay, how about any ahas?
So many.
Good. Good. Throw out one or two.
All right, I have them written down here. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to that finger on the pulse thing. I love it. I love that term. I'm all about buzz terms. Or
you know what's funny? When I'm in front of a person, I've got my finger on the pulse of real estate. I've got my finger on the pulse of this market. I used to tell my clients that when I met with them. I've literally.
Oh, that's great.
I felt like Vanna White.
Translate the data. I like that one too. That's good.
Just working on our mission statement, it just made me rethink what it's mine. That's an aha that because I'm bilingual, so I'm having trouble to like put it all in. So, but it's just refresher to I need to work on when set up the meetings and see what it's out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's a big aha, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's great.
I would agree with the whole like our mission statement, like what kind of does help to narrow your focus onto where you see yourself or who you see yourself as.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. It's focusing in on, that's why it's a value proposition. What is your value? What are you bringing to the table? Who are you? What are your great strengths that you're offering to your buyers and sellers?
I typed my aha for the day.
What's that? Are you going to share it with us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just thought that it's pretty cool that we can all use our past experiences to add value to ourselves as real estate agents.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Yeah, we all have a variety of backgrounds and different experiences, different careers prior to real estate. And all of those things tie into what we bring to the table, and it's different. And it's, again, I love that, you know, we get to support you all creating your career in real estate and using your superpowers to help your clients and build the life that you deserve, that you want. And narrowing in that focus, I was like, I'm excited about this class because it does help you take that moment to sit back. We're doing all the things, right? We're learning so much, and this opportunity to just sit back and think, okay, who am I? And what am I bringing to the table for my clients? And get excited about that, you guys, because you're unique. And when you're going out there and you're trying to get business, you're trying to create relationships with your buyers and sellers, guess what? You get to do it in a way that nobody else can. Nobody's you. And you're the best person for the job. One thing we didn't do is talk about or read. There was one page where we had a little mantra and we skipped right through it. Where is it here? I liked this. I think it's at the end. We're just about done here, you guys. I want to get you out on time. So it is coming up here. You know, you're working on your success system throughout Ignite. So having your 10 conversations, adding your 10 contacts, sending out notes, your 10-5-1 on social media. Do we all know what that is? The 10-5-1? Yeah. So we're doing 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 post on each of your social medias. Okay. Don't forget, before you make your calls, to be TCPA compliant. That's for a different, celebrate your successes. We talked about our ahas. Okay, so it looks like that's not going to show up on the slide, but here is the mindset to prime you for success, the affirmation. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. I don't know if that's in your paperwork or not. I don't think it is.
No.
All right. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. So that's your little mantra before you make your calls or you send out your emails. Have that. Write that down, read it to yourself, say it out loud before you start making your calls, because you are unique and you have a contribution to make. All right. Yeah, I love all the ahas and sharing and everything. Any other questions? Okay, you guys are doing awesome. I'm so proud of all of you. Thank you for showing up for yourself and for doing the work, because this is going to help your trajectory go from here to here, right? You're leveling up, and I'm really proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So keep doing your lead generation, keep doing all the things that you're supposed to do. I know that Madeline is excited to be with you on Wednesday. She is going to be talking about lead generation. So yay, that's going to be fun. All right, it is 3:06. I kept you guys after class. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough in this content to go the 2 hours. So thank you guys for participating and doing the work to create your statements. If you would love to email me your statement once you're done, your value proposition, I would love to read it. So my email is kwesleader@kwdub.com. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Serena.
Thank you.